Welcome back to Realtor Talk, and I'd like to thank Steve DeGiulio again with Advantage Home and Property Inspections for helping us out today. I'm Joyce with RE/MAX, and we're going to see some pictures of things that Steve has seen in some of his inspections, explain a little bit about what he's seeing and why it is not a good thing. And Steve, we'll turn it over to you now.
All right, thank you, Joyce. Well, first of all, we have a crawl space horizontal mounted furnace, a gas-fired furnace, where the gas line is a flex line going through the cabinet without the proper bushings, which, if there's any kind of shaking or movement, would wear a hole through there, which could be disastrous. Gas leak, combustion, explosion.
Okay.
And here's really typical, a bath fan that is not exhausted to the outside. It's just outside air. It's just letting all the moisture and air up into the attic, not going anywhere. It causes mold, possible dry rot. Here's a roof. It's architectural style shingle that is losing its granules. Possibly some hail damage has gone to it. When you see this, you know that you're getting to probably the end of your useful life of your roof. And here's where a tree's been rubbing on the edge of a roof and destroyed it there at the end. It'll create moisture back up into the eaves. Here's the attic side of a roof where it looks like Swiss cheese pretty much, letting light in. You know that that's lasted way past its useful life. And here's the top side of that same roof here in Pocatello. Here's some step cracking on a brick home. You can see a little settling down at the foundation. They've patched and repaired it, which is good and proper thing to do with this type of brick. And dang it. Here's some mold in an attic, and that's from improper ventilation. Probably that bath fan that hasn't been vented to the exterior air creates this. And here's another shot of that. Here's the underside of a trailer house, crawl space. Been a broken water line up there. You can see that the insulation and the barrier there is just full of water, just leaking down into the crawl space. Here's some wood-destroying insects we found in a crawl space. Some plumbing that's starting to rot out. Looks like they've used some putty to try to repair that. Here's some leaking and some repaired pipe in a crawl space. Here's a water heater that doesn't have the proper length of a drain line for the temperature pressure relief valve, or the electrical's just got the wire nuts on the outside and it's not in conduit. Here's an improperly vented water heater. It's gas fired. It's got the downflow on the ventilation, which it needs to be vented upward, so that's going to cause carbon monoxide in your home. It's going to make somebody pretty sick. Here's a bathtub fixture that's been corroded, needs replaced.
That might even have problems behind the tile as well.
Right, it could have been leaked back up into the wall also.
Yeah, there might be mold back there.
Here's a refrigerator water line that's come undone, and you can see it's leaked down into the insulation and dripping there for the ice maker. Here's the venting for the heater in the crawl space, and you can just see that it's just actually venting the crawl space there. It's disconnected. A lot of people don't realize why their house is so cold until we get in and find this going on. And here's crawl space. It's not been properly braced. They just found some, as you can see, bricks and some lumber and just kind of stacked it up, take some squeaks out and maybe brace it up a little bit. And here's an attic that's been improperly braced. We've got a 4x4 laying horizontally, which is just bowing in the center, taking the weight of the roof. And that's, especially with a snow load, that's not going to be very good or last very long. Here's the inside of an attic. It's a newer construction home. Has the buffer wall, as you can see through the center there, has not been insulated, and that creates a cold spot into the living area. Here's another attic where over time the insulation has just fell down. There's a lot of things that go on like that we just don't realize it because we've lived in a home for so long. Here's also inside of an attic where a chimney vent pipe has got an open gap at the outside, allowing water and moisture just to run down on the inside. And here's another picture of a heater where the doesn't have the proper bushing and an older style gas valve, which is prone to leak now these days after time. Here's some electrical where there's 2 wires to 1 breaker, and that creates an overload and potential fire hazard. That's a big no-no. Here's a window well access that it's an egress without a ladder, and I recommend on all basement windows 44 inches or deeper, which are required to have fixed ladders, to just put them in, just because, you know, if you're in another room and you need to get out quick, you know, it's easier to use a ladder for kids and or, you know, all of us.
Well, I think you mentioned too that we can also get those covers, which would help prevent children from falling down, animals from falling down in there.
Right, and debris, so you don't get, and plus the hard water stains on your window, debris in there, so. Here's new construction where the plumber had forgotten to put nail plates on, which screws will go through into your plumbing and your vent pipes and allow water into pipes leaking and that bad gas smell.
Well, and I actually had a home where people could smell the mold and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Took down the sheetrock and somebody had nailed into the water pipe and created a problem which continued to leak. So.
And again, that's a good idea to have an inspection on new construction. Another set of eyes.
Yeah.
Here's old style fuses, screw in. A lot of people believe that if you just put 30 amp fuses in, higher amp, then they'll just quit blowing, and all that does is overload and it's potential fire hazard. So you need to have the right size fuses for the right size wires, and that's with all electrical panels. Here's some more new construction where evidently that's gas line running through there that the HVAC people decided they needed to get through better than having that wall, so they just cut through the wall, and actually that whole wall was just loose anyway. So here's some wires that are spliced, wire nuts, no junction box, and also a junction box without a cover. This all needs to be covered and in junction boxes to prevent fire and electrical shock. Here's some knob and tube wiring here that's been spliced and taped. You know, again, as I said earlier, Joyce, you know, you don't want to mess with that stuff at all. So it's always better, something like this needs to be in a junction box, and get a qualified professional to take a look at that.
Well, one thing I have found today, and I didn't realize how important it was, is that you really do need a home inspection on new construction as well as the older. And we're finding with the appraisers, they'll find things that they have to come back and re-inspect to make sure that it's been taken care of, where that home inspection before the appraiser would take care of all those problems. It would get it corrected before he comes through the house. So that would be a wonderful thing. Well, we appreciate the audience today watching Realtor Talk with us. And also, Steve, we thank you for coming and joining us with Advantage Home and Property Inspections. It's been very informative. I sure appreciate what I've learned today. And I'm Joyce from RE/MAX, and we thank you again for joining us here at Realtor Talk.
For years, you dreamed of a home with a view. Yet now, you're gazing upon something even more precious. If you're ready, the time to buy is now. Affordability has improved and interest rates are low. The National Association of Realtors wants you to know that homeownership is an investment in your future. To learn more about your local market, talk to a realtor and visit housingmarketfacts.com. Every market's different. Call a realtor today.
It's easy, Grandpa. Brush your teeth twice a day. Floss your teeth once a day. That's a way to fight decay, hey, hey. Brush and floss every day, hey, hey. Healthy smiles are the way. Hey, hey, hey.
You can keep your smile for a lifetime, even a boomer-saurus like me.
Boomers, you gotta love them.